Yeah, I was definitely shopping around this offseason since I wasn't under contract for this season.
What's up, everybody? Johnny Disc Golf here at the 2020 Memorial Championships, and I am standing next to the champion himself, Mr. Calvin Heimburg. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good, and you should be doing good. You just took down one of the best fields like ever created. It seems like the players are just getting better and better. What's in your head? How you feeling right now for the win?
Yeah, it's great to come out here and get a win early in the season, kind of like I did last year. Yeah, everything as far as tee shots was going really well this weekend, and putting as well, sometimes better than others. But yeah, everything just kind of came together, which you need to happen out here because it's kind of birdie or die.
Yeah. Last week we played Vegas, which you were the coming back champion from that, the returning champion. Not quite that same type of performance though. Was it in your head a little bit that you had won last year, or how were you last week?
No, that wasn't really in my head. There was a lot of mistakes that just kind of added up. Didn't really feel like I was quite in control of my drive. So, yeah, I just didn't really play great on any aspect, but I was able to, make some corrections for this week.
Sure. Well, quick aside from the play, where'd you spend your off season? How'd it go? I think it was like 3 months or 3.5 months. It felt like a week. Where were you? What'd you do?
I spent most of my time back home in, Safety Harbor, Florida, but yeah, it wasn't too eventful. I was kind of nursing a back injury, so I didn't really get to play much until the very end, like right before Vegas. So a little bit of the rust is coming off now, but I feel good now, and I'm looking forward to the season.
Yeah, next couple of weeks. We have an off week next week, though, and then we're going straight to Waco and then into that Texas swing. What's your near future look like? Where are you going next week?
Well, I'm flying back home because I flew out here. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it out to Waco yet. I'm signed up, but that's a question mark. But I'll be playing Throwdown the Mountain in Florida, then I'll be getting out there to Texas States, and I'll be back in Florida for Tallahassee Open. And then after that, just following the Pro Tour and tee schedule.
Okay, so you are going to do another full year of touring. I know last year you kind of were giving it that test run. The helicopter flies overhead. You're confident with the path? You're confident to give it another run?
Yeah, I enjoyed it last year. It was good, and my sponsors are treating me good. So yeah, I'm happy to be out here for the remainder of this year, and hopefully next year.
Yeah. Who are you touring with? You were kind of like patchworking it last year. Do you have a firm tour partner?
No firm tour partner. Last year I basically drove my car around most of the time. There was little stretches where either Madison or Zach were with me, but yeah, just same plan, driving the same car around, and maybe someone will tag along at different parts of the year.
Sure. Out here at Memorial, it seems like the power players are winning every single year. It's been, obviously Paul for a million times, but the last few years have been Simon, Eagle, yourself, some of the longest throwers on tour. Do you feel like this course, it's not the longest courses, or these two courses aren't the longest courses? Why do you think it is those power players?
I think some of it has to do with, the shots might not be long, but power players can kind of throw things up higher and spike into the ground. They don't necessarily have the same ground play that someone that's throwing a low flexing shot necessarily has to do. So, yeah, none of these holes are like super long, but the power players can kind of eliminate some of the ground play on these fast greens.
Sure. Towards the, actually, I think maybe from the whole round, Madison was walking around. She's been here. She wasn't playing today.
Yep.
That's kind of been your good luck charm in the past, is having Madison show up, pop on the bag for a couple of those big wins.
Yep.
Did you feel that same energy today?
Yeah, it's always good to have your friends around. So, yeah, Madison and Zach showed up around hole 4 maybe, and that's actually when I went on a pretty long birdie streak. So, I don't know, maybe there's something to it.
One of the biggest changes this year at the Pro Tour is that the FPO, though, is going to be teeing afterwards. So if Madison was in the hunt, it's unlikely that she would have been on the bag. How do you feel about those changes? You guys are going to be teeing a little earlier now.
Yeah, hopefully not too much earlier as long as I play well. But, yeah, I think they're doing it for a reason. I think it's something to do with, getting the FPOs some more gallery and maybe media, making a better media experience for the viewers that aren't here. So I think it's a good idea. I'm curious to see, how it all pans out and what their numbers look like. But, yeah, I think it's a good idea. At least give it a try.
So now I'm fully expecting you to get done with your round at some point and go over there and pop on Madison's bag. Have you guys talked about maybe doing that at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I did that a couple times this week out at Fountain, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit harder hitting questions because we did mention that before. You have an Innova on your chest.
Yep.
Most of the friends you hang out with, or maybe not most, but several of them are part of that DD family. Rumor through the grapevine is that there was definitely a chance that you were going to go with DD or Innova. It was like kind of 50-50 between the two. Is there any truth to that? And can you maybe, why did you end up choosing Innova if there is truth to that?
Yeah, I was definitely shopping around this offseason since I wasn't under contract for this season. So, yeah, I talked to DD. I actually went out there and talked to him in Kansas. And it was pretty much, between DD and Innova there at the end. But some of it for me was just, I was hurt and I wasn't quite sure what my outlook was. So I kind of stuck with Innova just because of the familiarity with my disc, knowing that I could come back, with very little practice and kind of be a little more into the season. I didn't want to also, put DD, I would have ended up being their highest profile player, and I didn't want to also put, maybe I don't get better and I don't want to make it. The optics don't necessarily look great if DD signs a high profile player and then they don't come out and perform during the season. So it's not really fair to them either, if I were to have done that. So.
Yeah, so how's the relationship between you and DD? Was it a mutual thing, or kind of were they counting on something that didn't happen?
No, I mean, they put out a really competitive offer. They definitely wanted me, and they wanted me, and they were probably upset to not see me sign with them. But I think with the situation at the time, it was best for, with the uncertain outcome, for me to just sign with Innova again.
Sure. Speaking of uncertain outcomes, though, you mentioned that it was because of that back injury. I'd ask where you are. It seems perfectly healthy. You just won a big event. Where's the back at right now?
It's doing pretty good. It's still lingering a little bit, but for the most part, it's fine. It's way better than it was. So, I mean, just working it back into disc golf, not playing for most of the off season. Other muscles just aren't used to being used, and had to work through some pains on those too. But yeah, everything's feeling really good now, and I'm looking forward to the season.
Awesome. Calvin, there's so many things I could ask you, but you've got another interview lined up with the Disc Golf Network somewhere over there. I do want to give you a chance, though, to say anything that you'd like to the fans, the people rooting for Mr. Calvin Heimburg out there.
Yeah, thanks for following and watching me on the live coverage of the post-production, and shout out to my sponsors, Grip, Innova, and Millennium.
Beautiful. Real quick,
okay.
You mentioned Millennium. You're throwing the Draco. How are you liking that, and when can we see a Calvin Heimburg Draco?
I'm liking it. It's it's another overstable 9-speed disc. The one I have I beat up, so it's not as overstable as a new one would be. But yeah, you'll definitely see a Calvin Heimburg Draco sometime out here in the near future, hopefully.
Nice. I've been loving it myself. Quality discs. Now, you've already said your piece to the people. Go. His sponsors, Innova, Grip, all these people. Support Calvin. He's a gem of a human. Guys, that is all I've got for this interview, though. If you'd like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.